Howdy. I am on the road, can't find my tripod, so we got this whole weird angle situation. But doesn't matter, right? It's a great time to talk about a great book and how to apply some of what is in the book to expanding your mind, expanding your ability to navigate mental health and strange lived experiences. So, Paranormal Ruptures, edited by Dr. Glazier, is a collection of articles, pieces that push the boundary of parapsychology through critical theory. So, these pieces of writing are inviting us to explore exceptional spaces, strange spaces, ways of interpreting the world beyond material reality, beyond what is conventionally taught, and ultimately how we engage with ourselves, our inner lives, and if we're practitioners, with the inner lives of our clients. I have a chapter in this book. I wrote about parapsychology, psychosynthesis, and I talk about the trickster. So, in a very loose and general top-down perspective of what I was trying to convey is that I think we need to be more comfortable, or at first explore, what we do with information and with perspectives that are seemingly fixed or changeable. So that looks like when you make an assessment of someone or of something, does that assessment hold the next day, the following day, days after that? We are awareness, having a human experience. We are subject to change ourselves. So I am advocating to create a worldview and a way to engage with reality by cultivating a framework that is essentially changeable. One of my favorite chapters in the book is by Dr. Christine Simmons-Moore, called Parapsychological Experiences as a Fractalized System. I'm going to read you a little bit. So, transliminality reflects an enhanced tendency for information to cross thresholds in the mind, brain, and body between the person and the world, and has been characterized most recently as a tendency for greater neuroplasticity. Cool. Transliminality draws information from unconscious and subconscious sources in addition to the environment and holistically integrates information into conscious awareness. Transliminality and its cousins, boundary thinness, temporal lobe lability, and positive schizotypy, reflects fluid and interconnected neural and perceptual cognitive systems that are sensitive to a range of internal and external information. This may include awareness of information that exists at a different fractal dimension of reality. That is on page 101. So let's break that down, because the point of doing these videos and the ways that I like to teach includes applying big ideas to lived experience, to day-to-day situations through story. Oftentimes that comes through my own stories. But I think today is a really great opportunity to look at the collective story that we're all going through. We might be at different levels of awareness of it, but that looks like, from the astrological perspective, some really intense energy and shifts are happening. This video is being done at the end of June 2026. We've all been hyping, we as in astrologers have been hyping up July 2026 as some astrology we ain't never seen before. Bet. We've got something called the Barbault basket happening. That is the alignment and then the creation with the application of angles, the perceived application of angles in the sky, talking about the way that the energies can interact and open up. So, when we're working with astrology, when we embody astrology and map the correlations of events to the sky, from the sky, or in the solar system, to our inner experience, we are working in a transliminal space. We might have intuitions, synchronicities, things coming up from the subconscious into conscious awareness. We might be anticipating things to happen, certain archetypal resonances and thematics to be present because we know the astrology says this is very active right now. And at this time in space, there is an incredibly interesting energetic happening, and I hope we all stay curious as individuals, as practitioners. What this Barbault basket symbolizes energetically is the union of the inner and outer modes of perception, integration and union, and what that will do for our experience of awareness. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure, no? As a precursor to that, and as a way that the collective energy is shifting, we can see the explosion of stories around alien and UAP encounters. We can see the explosion of interest around non-local means of perception. The telepathy tapes, super duper popular, right? At this point in time and space, we're acknowledging that there is a lot of information flowing from many different realms. What we don't have as mental health practitioners is a cohesive framework to hold that experience of receipt of information in a container that is at once therapeutic, also validating, and invoking of the ability for the person who is experiencing these things to have agency over them. We basically are taught, schooled to pathologize aberrant inner experiences, perceptions coming from outside or inside. I mean, we're not really clear where some of these experiences originate. a person who is undergoing or experiencing psychosis or psychotic episode, might very well talk about being in communication with the earth, feeling the earth. And this brings up a lot of issues. So number one, many folks who have exceptional experiences like this feel deterred by the mainstream establishment of mental health care. And really, I think, especially in America, by culture. We have sensationalized, we have put into media, into books, podcasts, movies, sensational experiences because they are interesting. There's something emerging for us. But what that is, what the emotional ramifications are, TBD. What does it mean to know, essentially, that there is so much more that can be experienced beyond us? What does that mean on an individual and on a collective level? And how do our frameworks support that, give that belief structure? Parapsychology does an excellent job of pushing the boundaries. It's a science. What we know and can perceive about the world and how the rules about what we know and perceive about the world are written down is one of the aims or reaches that parapsychology explores. But what we don't know perhaps gets put into a box to be explored at a later date. And that's why, coming full circle to the astrological correlations, the energetics, and how the solar system and the Earth's place in time and space are interacting, creating influxes of energy, opportunities for consciousness expansion. All of this is leading us into the need to revise our metaphors and our language. It's also leading us kind of full circle by showing just how much the material and the immaterial reflect each other, by taking us back to the ideas that vibrations, resonance, the construction of the world from holistic systems. I have experienced studying Ayurveda. I know that words are medicine, but how could energy just be medicine? We're getting there, or we're going in that direction when we stay curious. And books like Paranormal Ruptures put a real authoritative spin on that exploration. What it also does is press the boundaries of establishment. I think that there is a general trend to move away from establishment, to move toward justification on an individual level, the felt sense on an individual level, the distrust of large institutional structures, with all due respect and understanding. Absolutely question everything. But I do think that a standardization of what we're actually experiencing now is important. There are so many great chapters here. And another one of my favorite chapters is by Dr. David Mitchell, and he writes in What Goes Bump in the Psyche, he talks about relic hominoids and reality shifts as existential threats to Western culture. Now, I refer to the American culture, but essentially what I'm also referring to is Western culture. It's Bigfoot. Bigfoot. He's got another book out about what these Bigfoot-like creatures represent in the psyche. Now, just imagine that you have a conversation with a person or with a patient, and they tell you that they're talking about Bigfoot. I feel like that conversation might, A, stop right away because you don't believe in Bigfoot. Or B, it might continue, but you really just don't know what to make of it or what to do with it. Or C, with an open mind and authoritatively informed perspective, you might recognize the parallels of a Bigfoot image or creature and what it says about trauma, or what it represents as perhaps a trauma signature in someone. And it can go on and on. Questioning the ideas and how we construct material reality, or our understanding of material and post-material reality, is so important, because then we meet the person with atypical lived experience, with weird lived experiences at a level that upholds their integrity, that is a fast track to validation, and that allows us both to stay curious. And as the world moves towards decentralized information, general wild accessibility to knowledge without mitigation or without structures, lots of piecemeal theories being put together, I think it is of paramount importance to refer back to books like this, written by scholars who are curious and who are questioning the establishment and invite us to reconsider our ways of understanding the world. So this is a good one. And it's readable. It's not a snooze full of charts and graphs and abstract things. It's very readable. Let me know what you think about it.